everybody, today's video is a summary or reflection on my no spend year for 2020. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, my name is Nicola. This is the Frugal Cottage, where we talk all things money to help you on your financial journey. And let's get started. So I thought as we were coming to the end of the year, I would kind of do a reflection on our no spend year, how it's gone, how I found things, what I would do differently, and perhaps debate whether or not I'm going to do one next year. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and let's get started. So yes, at the start of the year, January the 1st, was my first video on this channel where I showed my face. I started by saying that we were going to do a no spend year for 2020. Now, remembering back to the start of the year, when I made this quite big aim, it was a very different place. The world is a very different place. Everything seemed very different. It also seems like a long time ago that I set those goals for our no spend year. But the reasoning behind that was we'd had a really expensive year. Last year we had an extension on our house and we kind of spent a lot of money. We wanted to get back to basics in terms of our spending and just kind of really not go without, but kind of minimise those extra spend. Like I said, we spent a lot of money the year before, so we wanted to go back to basics and just spend on the kind of the necessities, if you like, and really not spend a lot of money elsewhere. So my goals or rules for the no spend year were no takeaways, no clothes shopping, no takeaway coffee for me, and no kind of extra stuff. And there are two that we've kind of broken, if you like. One I found ridiculously difficult from about 2 weeks in, and then other things kind of came into play as the year went on. So the first one that we've broken is the no takeaways, and that went kind of astray, if you like, back in February, I think. We kind of broke that. And then as lockdown and things kind of progressed and things changed, and then all of a sudden lots of our local restaurants were suddenly in trouble, if you like, we made the decision to, where possible, support the local restaurants that we'd used before who were now unable to kind of do their service. And we got a couple of takeaways from different restaurants who, because lockdown was in place, had opened up a takeaway service because you couldn't go and sit in. And one of our rules for the no spending was no eating out, but we kind of made that decision based on basically a couple of Facebook posts that we saw from these restaurants that basically said, please, if you can order anything, we're really struggling, we need your help. We can't afford to continue as we are, and so if you can afford to order something from us as a takeaway, then please do so. So we made the decision that way to order those. And would we have done that differently? Probably. I think in hindsight, the not eating out thing was obviously made easier by the current climate. I think we would have stuck to the no eating out rule easier than the no takeaways rule, and we kind of made that decision that we would support these local restaurants and purchase takeaway from them. So we broke that in February, and then again kind of in a couple of other places during lockdown. And do I regret that decision? Not at all. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a lot of money, but it, you know, we hoped that it helped them at the time, and basically got restaurant standard food delivered to our house. So yeah, and one of them was for our wedding anniversary, so that would be the only time we would normally go out to a restaurant, is wedding anniversary and then birthdays, and that is it. So for our wedding anniversary this year, we got a takeaway from a tapas bar in town who is, we've been to eat there kind of multiple times beforehand, and they're one of the ones that said, look, if you can afford to order something, please do, it would really help us out. So we'd made that decision. The second one that I found the most difficult, and surprisingly the most difficult, was for me the no takeaway coffee. That was the hardest thing, and I hadn't realised before what that symbolised in terms of, it's that little treat that doesn't cost that much, but it's also the time I'd normally get it when I'm by myself, and I have a really small window by myself. I have about 2 hours on a Tuesday and 2 hours on a Friday, and that is it. That's all the time I get to myself. And the takeaway coffee thing was something I'd sometimes get, or quite often get, as a treat when I'm by myself. And even if it was just like through the drive-through, and come straight home and not even sit there. And that for me was the most difficult in terms of not the monetary value, and in fact in some ways that wasn't the point in that. The point for me making that rule at the start was to get myself out of the habit of going through the drive-through, because I could go through the Costa drive-through on the way home and I was going there quite regularly, and the point behind that was to get out of the habit. However, I didn't realise how much I'd missed that, and I didn't realise how much I enjoyed that little treat, I suppose. I think I didn't really think about the kind of the bigger aspect of that, rather than I'm just spending £3 on a coffee, but actually I'm spending £3 on myself, on something that I enjoy, would be the way to look at that. And that's the one I found the hardest. I am looking forward, not just going back to Costa, but to going to, like, whenever we're allowed to, because we're still in the very high tier up here in the northeast, when we're allowed to just go to a local little cafe, get a coffee, slice cake, and meet a friend. Just that kind of thing I'm looking forward to being able to do once we're allowed to. But that was the one I found the most difficult, and surprisingly, I didn't think I'd find that difficult at all. So that was surprising to me this year. Has it saved us more money? I suppose that's one of the big questions that people wonder if you do a no spend year. So the short answer to that is yes. But the longer answer is, did the pandemic help in that sense? And of course it did. In March, I was suddenly not going to work, not having to pay childcare, not having to travel anywhere, not being able to go anywhere and do anything. And that, combined with the no spend year anyway, has obviously enabled us to save much more than we intended. In fact, I've not done my final figures yet for 2020, but I think we've managed to save over £1,000 more than we would have in a normal circumstance. So yes, it has enabled us to save more. Yes, the pandemic helped me in that sense, but the no spend year was going to do that anyway, and that's a bonus to that. Did I enjoy the process? Most of the time. When you're not spending money, first of all, the pressure is off. You are not having to make decisions around spending money or anything related to that. And secondly, it kind of forces you to look at doing things that don't cost you money or are somewhere else, like outside. Now, we're a family who like to go for walks and that kind of stuff anyway, but it kind of made me think about all the kind of times that I just go and buy something for the sake of it, or buy something online for the sake of it, or go somewhere and spend money just because. And the no spend year really makes you reflect on why you do these things and what the actions and thought processes are behind some of these things, and whether that's actually necessary going forward in terms of your spending. And actually, over time, the not spending is just an easy thing to do. I guess it becomes a habit, and then actually reversing that kind of thought process might be even more difficult. But I definitely think that it makes you more mindful of where your money is going and what you're willing to spend money on. I think again this year has shown that actually spending money in the smaller independent local places to you is much more important than, say, shopping on Amazon or on, you know, the really big brands that really don't need your money, versus that really tiny little independent shop on the high street where one purchase might make all the difference. So I think that's been definitely a positive from that. Are we going to do it again next year? I haven't decided. I've got a video planned to go up on the 1st of January with my aims for the year. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to think about it, and we'll see how it feels. I might do a variant of it, but look out for that video on the 1st of January where I will reveal all about our plans for the next 12 months. But that's my reflection on the no spend year. I did enjoy it. There were times I found that hard, but then again I think the circumstances magnified that feeling anyway, and I think that there are definitely lots of positives. If you are thinking about doing your own no spend year for 2021, I recommend you try. It definitely makes you look at your own spending habits and your spending triggers and why you kind of do certain things in a positive and negative light in that sense as well. It's not just positive, it's not just negative, it makes you think about things. And yeah, did you join me in the no spend year? Are you thinking about doing one next year? Let me know in the comments below how you're finding things. Maybe you're going to start off with a no spend month, and I'll leave a link below to a video which will help you with that. But that is my reflection on our no spend year for 2020. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you always for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow for yet another video in Vlogmas.